Hi, this is Dr. Jeff Camardo. I'm very excited to share what our portfolio, really proprietary systems that we've developed, portfolio stress test looks like in case you'd like to get an opinion on maybe some accounts you have with an outside advisor, your 401k, or share this free resource with your family and friends. So as we look at this, a lot of information on the page, and if I was just relating this to the client that submitted a statement, there are about 8 accounts, we combine things into one so you can get a really handy big picture view, whether they're all at one advisor or they could be, 20 different places, it doesn't matter. So if we look at the pie graph on the upper right-hand side, that gives the asset allocation. A couple of things jump out at me. There's 37% in bonds or fixed income, which is traditionally a conservative place, but with the current interest rate environment and rates likely to go up over the long term for a variety of reasons, bonds go down when rates go up. So that's a pretty risky position that would not be obvious to maybe your garden variety advisor. And the other thing is that there's a smattering of stocks across U.S. stocks which comprise most of the rest of the portfolio except for the cash. And when we take the cash out, if you look at the lower graph on the right-hand side, you can see there's a little bit more than 50% in mostly U.S. stocks and the rest in bonds, which would give you, in the current market, relatively risky read because, bonds are at risk to rising interest rates as the government keeps borrowing and spending. Rates are likely to go up no matter what the Fed does, and the rest of it is in U.S. stocks, which are pretty lofty valuations. So looking over at the upper left-hand side, that table are just the numbers that generate the pie chart. If we look at the table in the middle, asset class ranking, and this is kind of a technical indicator of what stocks are in uptrend, downtrend, support levels, resistance, that kind of thing, kind of like what Kramer does on TV. You'll notice only 27% of the holdings are top ranked or in uptrend. 71% are in the danger zone, which could be as bad as it sounds, right? We look at the bottom two tables on the left-hand side. These are Morningstar rankings. Morningstar is an independent, widely respected investment research house. They assign a rating to each investment they analyze, and they analyze almost all of them. So looking at this table, this person had 4 that are rated 5 or A-rated, 13 that are 4s or B-rated. Looks like another 13 that are 3s or C-rated. Thank goodness no Ds, no Fs, 10 that are not rated. So for a total of 40 individual investments, the average score is about a 2.7 or a C+, which is as bad as if you were back in school. And then the next panel over to the right, that does a dollar weighting to see if, gee whiz, if we have a lot more money in the A's than the F's, that would bring the score up. Unfortunately, it doesn't in this case. It's still a C+ when we look at the dollar weighting. This next panel is kind of some of the information that we used to feed into the first one, so I'm not going to dwell on it. This is actually quite important, and this tells us what the individual categories are and what some of the internal fees are, commissions, and so forth. Sometimes we find them quite high. This particular portfolio used relatively low-cost investments. There are a couple that are in middle and high side, but not enough that I would mention them in this analysis. But you never know what we're going to find. Sometimes we find outrageous hidden fees that are buried and we're able to pull out in this analysis. And there's a whole lot more. And again, not to get too much into the weeds, but this analysis we find gives an enormous amount of information. We're happy to do it for nothing. We really just need to take a look at the actual statements that your brokerage produces, and you get at least quarterly. And we can usually turn it around in 2 or 3 days once you have those statements in. So hopefully that was useful. And until next time, this is Dr. Jeff Camardo. Bye for now.